Judgment. Judgment has a lot to do with how we relate to the world, societal conditioning, as well as personal perspective. So understand that to judge others or to receive judgment from others is basically societal conditioning. It is not for you to judge someone else's mission. It is not for you to judge someone else's life. It is not for you to judge anybody's decision-making or their decision-making skills or the decisions they've made in one's life. It is not even for you to judge their mistakes. They are their mistakes to make, to learn from. You learn from all your mistakes. Now, judgment coming from a societal conditioning would be standing very firm in an institution, religious institution, for lack of a better word, saying that this is right because this says so. Anybody can say anything. I'm not going to get into specifics, but every book, religious book, was written by man. So understand that as a human being, all human beings are innately flawed, and they have their own perspectives and their own judgments. And even when prophesizing or hearing a higher spirit, realm, entity, energy, spirit guide, it is all coming through their own personal vessel and their own personal perspective. So again, when judging other people or and for lack of a better word, judgment in general, realize that these are all coming from somebody else's perspective or point of view. You need to live in your own truth. If you made a decision and it felt best to you and you had the most humble of the intentions and they were the best you could do at the time, then your frequency is heard. If your intention is not necessarily honorable, that is for you to dissect, you to learn from. You learn from your own mistakes. And if somebody's trying to impose their thoughts onto you, understand that's their perspective, but it's not for them to impose your truth. Because your truth is your truth, regardless. And you have to live with yourself. You have to sleep with yourself at night. So if anybody imposes their judgments on you, it's something that they find within themselves that they're faced with. That's number one. So let's say you have a baby out of quote-unquote wedlock, and somebody who's had children within wedlock say, you shouldn't have a baby within, unless you're married, or you're with the father of the child, or maybe there's a single father. You never know. And they're imposing their judgment on you, first of all, from their own societal conditioning, as well as their own shadows being triggered. Maybe they didn't have children out of wedlock, and that brings up something within themselves, and they have to address that issue. Again, it is for you to decide your own personal truth. And yes, we can all learn constructive criticism. That's not what we're speaking about. We're speaking about judgment. Somebody judging you. And the only thing that honestly judges you is yourself. Because it is your own personal frequency. I told you, fear nothing but your own true intentions. If your intentions are not great, then you know your intentions are not great, and you have to live with that within your own mind. And our mind is where all our perspective comes from, where all our thoughts, where our emotions coincide, and we have to live with that. Our own co-created structure within ourselves. And when we do things, when we have ill intentions, we have to live with that. Guilt is one of those things that come up. If you're having ill intentions, you will have guilt. If you have no guilt, of course, that's an emotional imbalance, and maybe at that time in that particular life, you're supposed to live like that. And, nobody's to judge. But you have to understand that judgment is much a mind factor, a mental factor, a conditioning of many things. And once you learn to accept yourself, of course, I'm coming to living presently, learning from your past, not regretting anything, being content in your present and not looking into the future. Once you learn that, this is you currently, now, in the space in which you are growing, learning, or stagnant if that's what it needs to be, or if you're going in your hermit period, this is your life. This is your life experience. This is for you to learn. If you don't believe in incarnations, great. Let's focus on this life and being the best version of ourselves in this life. And judgment will just halt that. You judging yourself will halt that. You living somebody else's truth will halt that. So try to, of course, the path of least resistance, and accept yourself. And hear what other people are saying. If it's not your personal truth and it's imposing, then do not take it upon your emotion and do not take it upon your soul. And learn that, hey, first of all, I'm happy I don't have those kind of judgments about myself. I see where they're coming from. I understand their truth, but that's not my truth. I do not judge them for judging me. There's so many perspectives in regards to judgment and impositions of one's ideas and theories. I'm only speaking from my own personal perspective, but overall, the perspective in which I hold is a very positive frequency. I want to live on a frequency of acceptance of oneself, of mastery of one's emotions. And I don't want anybody imposing their negative theories on me, their negative thoughts, or their societal conditions. And I recognize the difference, thus not judging others and not judging myself. That has been judgment.